Evelyn's Midtown Kitchen. Um, Evelyn Stokes is a Detroit-based culinary instructor, entrepreneur, and public speaker, specializing in international cuisine, culinary education, health conscious cooking, and food presentation. She is the founder of Evelyn's Midtown Kitchen. So you could go taste her food if you're in the Detroit area. And she has also developed and operated a cooking school in one of the largest historic public markets in the United States. With expertise in French and Italian baking, nutrition focused meal preparation, and hands on culinary instruction, Evelyn has taught diverse audiences ranging from aspiring home cooks, that's me, corporate teams, to community health participants, that's us. Her professional background includes partnerships and work connected to healthcare and community wellness organizations. I'm not going to mention including local hospitals program. I kept out Health Alliance on purpose, including local hospitals programs associated with the state of Michigan, where she helped educate communities on healthy eating and accessible nutrition. Chef Evelyn, you can put MESSA in there now for the next show.
Okay, absolutely.
Known for her dynamic presentation style and engaging public speaking ability, Evelyn has been featured across Detroit media outlets, including Fox News, CBS Detroit, the Detroit Free Press, and the Michigan Chronicle. Her work is recognized for combining culinary creativity, cultural storytelling, entrepreneurial resilience with a bold, high energy approach that leaves a lasting impression. We have celebrities in the house today. Thank you, Evelyn. You have the platform.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure and honor. And yes, I will happily add Mesa to that list. Rhonda and I spoke several weeks ago and we came to this, so I'm excited to be here. And today, this is mindful wellness, right? And we're going to talk about the cognitive benefits of cooking as well as some very practical techniques for incorporating healthy, flavorful, satiating cooking techniques in your everyday life. So thank you for having me. So I have here a display of items here. We're going to do our framework around this really delicious chickpea vegetable bowl. So I just want to show you some items we have here. We have some delicious lettuce, very affordable items you might get from the grocery store. We have several delicious vegetables here, red peppers, zucchini, onion. We're going to talk about excellent knife skills today. And we're going to top it all after we roast our vegetables with this lovely lemon and yogurt sauce, which is so good. So let's talk about, we think about the framework of prep, cook, assemble. We want to make it simple for you, but make it something that's highly flavorful and adaptable for the adults and the children in the family, because we got to work on some economics here. So first, let's talk about our nice skills. And then also, before we do that, we're going to have a delicious seared salmon with lemon. I mean, these are common everyday pantry ingredients that you have at home. It's going to be so good. And when you think about cooking, it may seem arduous. It may seem like I don't have time to cook. I'm tired. I've been working 10 hours a day. But you think about the cognitive benefits of cooking, it kind of distracts you from your stress and your fatigue, and it requires you to do things like planning, multitasking, sequencing. It's almost like it's a healthy distraction from your stress and even your fatigue when you kind of set things up and you use your common ingredients to make something healthy and nutritious for the family. I don't know about you, but is there anyone here, you're tired at the end of the day, but you don't want takeout? You don't want the fast food, am I right? I think that way. Right. My sister's out of state and that's probably what we talk about half the time is They're exhausted at the thought of what to eat, and they're tired of everything out. They want something good. They want to feel healthy and good about themselves, even in the evening. So we talked about the protein, which is good for helping you remain satisfied, and it helps lighten your mood, right? So we're talking about the mindfulness of cooking, the wellness, the cognitive, mental health benefits of cooking. And then there's the fiber, which is excellent for regulating your blood sugar. So we have plenty of fiber today, not only in the vegetables, but in our lovely chickpeas. And we're going to assemble how we're going to roast that first. And then there's colorful vegetables. So all the colors in the vegetables represent some sort of nutrient density. So if you have a variety of colors, that makes it more complex, and more complex makes it more benefit for your body in terms of nutrition and great exposure, not only for you, but the kids at home as well. And then the healthy fats like the olive oil. We're not overcooking anything in all these layers. So the olive oil and even the Greek yogurt are going to be healthy fats that kind of help with your mood and nourish the brain. Okay, so let's talk about knife skills. Everyone can see my cutting board here, right? If there's something you can't see, let me know. So one time I had a friend ask me, she's like, what makes good cooking, right? We don't have to have these high-end skills like the chefs at home, like the chefs in the restaurants, even though that's something I can teach you. But really, it's the gadgets. So you have to have a good knife. We always talk about knife skills in my classes. Other items I have is a microplane that gets flavor and motivates you to cook. Let's see what else. You got to have your nice tools set up for you. So you see I have a canister of a great spatula and all the common tools. Nothing overcomplicated here. And then you have ingredients like maybe some fresh cracked pepper and some salt available to you. I got these out of the country, but you get 2 cute little canisters that you like and keep them available so things are out good for you. And then common pantry items is some garlic powder. Wherever I travel, I get smoked paprika whenever I can, things like that. And then some Italian seasoning. So, and then of course a nice little bowl. These things should be readily available to help you function in the kitchen. So let's talk about knife skills. The proper way to hold a knife and pinch the base like so, and wrap all 5 fingers around. That's how we hold the knife. And then the other hand is with the claw. So all 5 fingers. So when you're chopping, doing a motion like that, and your hand is not going to get cut because it's perpendicular to the cutting board. So you notice as we're chopping and cooking today, that's how I'm going to be motioning my hand. So let's start vegetable prep. I have a lovely zucchini here. Again, very common kitchen items. I like to cut mine in nice bite-sized chunks. So you see I'm doing a motion like so. And I also have a little garbage bowl so you don't get overwhelmed at the end. You put all your garbage in here. That way you don't have to have like running back and forth to the garbage can. So I like to cut my zucchini in nice diagonal like so. And we're essentially going to layer each vegetable with a layer of flavor. So what I want to do is I'm going to take my nice bowl and get everything in here. And you're just going to see me repeat the same thing over and over again, where I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, salt, pepper, of course you can control that, garlic powder, and paprika. And then take your spatula and just get all these items in one layer onto the pan. We're talking about easy, simple, one-pan meals. And in the same pan, I'll take my broccoli and just repeat and do the same thing. You're like, Evelyn, I can do this. Yes, but how do we do it when we can, right? But the whole goal is to make this as less arduous, as complicated as possible, and pretty easy, straightforward. So you got my broccoli. You put as much salt and pepper or olive oil in there as you want. And then you layer that on the pan. Your oven's going to be preheated at, 425. Let's talk about a little bit of knife skill here. Again, holding my knife properly. Wrap all 5 fingers around like that. I take my pepper. And what I like to do in order to cut the pepper and retain as much of the good part as possible, I'll set it up on the top, and I'll take the tip of the knife and cut it down, one slit down the side. Then I'll put it on the side and angle the knife. Imagine angling the knife like so, and cut around the seed and the stem. And so what you do in one quick swipe, this is in my garbage bowl, I have all the good meat, all the good parts that I can lovingly, easily slice up. And I have most of the seed out. And it's super simple. Again, using my claw, holding my knife properly, I just cut nice little strips like so. Now you can do this raw or set them up for roasting, which we're doing today. Put that in my bowl. Again, repeat the process. A little bit of salt, pepper, some garlic powder, paprika. You see a pattern here. Olive oil. And then give it a nice little mix. And then put it on the pan. And you just do this for as many vegetables as you want. And then the one last item I'm going to do this for is, of course, my chickpeas. Rinse and repeat, right? Make life simple. Olive oil, salt, pepper. Now, on our typical Friday and Saturday night, we teach the fancy classes that we can, go in depth with how we want to do more complicated recipes. But with this, we're talking about nutritious, colorful, satisfying weeknight meals that won't take you a long time. And these are nice because they can be customized for the family as well. So if the kids don't like all those flavors, maybe they have cucumber, maybe they have plain zucchini off to the side, and maybe they have something else that they like, another vegetable, but you can see how generally the same ingredients are adaptable for the entire family. All right, and so that's what we have here, a beautiful layer. And what we already have done is a lovely set of roasted vegetables. Now look at the crunch on this broccoli. That's quite tasty. I love it. It's very delicious. Okay, so our next step is to begin cooking. Okay, so I'm preheating my pan. And that's another thing to invest in, is a good set of pans. We typically want like a thick bottom pan. And it may be $100 or a couple of $100. I have some very expensive items around here. Sometimes if I wasn't able to purchase them outright, I saved up for a while to get like my really nice Vitamix or some other prep machines because I know how valuable that is in the kitchen. This in particular is what we call a scan pan. I'm surprised it's not on the market a lot. It's a non-stick pan, but it's PFOA. So it's made in Scandinavia, so it's called Scan Pan, and it's PFOA free, meaning it's free of the toxins where you can cook at very high temperatures, things that need non-stick, but it doesn't release those toxins. So I take another little mixture of salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika, and I mix that up. And then I can simply add it to my salmon here. One other little tip is while my pan is preheating, I have salmon that has been brought to room temperature. That's another little key when you are cooking with certain proteins, or really all proteins, whether it's steak, chicken, or salmon, because this recipe can be made with chicken. You want to let the protein out of the refrigerator. As you see, I have it prepped here. And you want it to come to room temperature so that when you begin to cook it, it kind of cooks at the same rate. So it's not too done on the outside, but it's really done well on the inside. All right. Now, optional, you see I'm preheating a dry pan. That's the key. A lot of times people will put the pan on the stove. They'll immediately put the oil in it. I am going to sear with olive oil. You can do a vegetable oil or avocado oil because avocado oil has a higher smoke point. But my point here is is to preheat a dry pan before you put the oil in. So during the preheating process, you don't burn the oil or get it too high to a smoke point. And it just helps you have a better product, right? Because we want it kind of hot so we get a nice little sear when we put the meat in. So I'm going to just put a little bit of oil at the bottom here. Okay, so give that about 30 seconds. Do we have any questions or any thoughts so far about the cognitive benefits of cooking? Does anyone have any kind of barriers to cooking a healthy meal during the week?
I just want to know, like, how long do you preheat the pan? Like, is it just like a minute or so? Because I've been
Yeah,
trying to do that at home and I'm just sucking at it.
yeah. I mean, it could, sometimes it's the vessel, right? If it's the bottom of the pan is too thin, then it's gonna get so hot to where it's just gonna make it difficult. The protein's gonna stick for a long time. So that's why they say thick bottom. And what tends to happen sometimes, a gas stove is much easier to control, so that's going to get you a sear a lot faster, and it's going to be easier to kind of turn it down if it gets too hot. So it's all these different dynamics you're dealing with. So if it's a good quality pan, you can preheat it for like 5 minutes if you want it. Really, you could. It just depends on the quality of the instrument and the heat source. So skin side down. I want to hear a nice little sear. I'll just do these two for now. And we just let it go. And this is what I find in classes a lot of times. People like, when they put the meat in the pan, they like to like push it and poke it and press it. Don't do it. Don't do that. Let it go. Let it go. Let that burn happen a little bit, because what you're going to get is a beautiful texture, a beautiful look. You don't want to rip the piece of meat. I know sometimes we're taught to press meat for some reason when we learn to cook. Don't do it. Just let it sear. Let it go, because if you follow these specific steps, it will lift off the pan eventually. Now, I don't have one with me. Sometimes fish is a little tricky because it does still get stuck. So at the kitchen where I typically teach, I have a few fish spatulas. This spatula is a little bit closer to this. This is the IKEA shelving unit that I put up in my kitchen. And, I kind of try to model my kitchen around to have all my instruments available for me. There's a term for that. It's called mise en place. So you set your kitchen up to function the way that you need, easily accessing the items you need, not always put away. Mise en place does mean put in place. So you put some things in place so that you can cook pretty easily. So you can think about how you set it up in the kitchen. All right. So let's see what we have here. Now, if it's ready to release, it's ready to release. So I'm just going to give it a nice look. I think it needs a little bit more of a sear, though. See? Have a little patience. I'm going to have a little more browning there. That's going to be good for flavor and texture. Yes, I know I need smell-o-vision, right? It's so simple, but it smells so good. So just give that. Think about when you're browning your chicken or you're making steak at home. Let it brown. Let it go. Let it happen. Brown it slightly beyond what you think it should be. You're going to get it done well on both sides, right? And it's going to get that beautiful flavor and texture. And maybe if I came back for another demo, I can show you a very popular dish that I typically make. It's just chicken with the pan sauce, right? We have a pan at home. We like chicken. Sometimes you get tired of it, so you want to have a new way of preparing chicken that's pretty delicious. I have an amazing recipe for that. That, again, is common household items, stuff you would have in your pantry, in your refrigerator. It's going to help you have an amazing meal in a very simple way. So I'm going to turn this over. Got a little bit more brown. Going to turn it over on the other side. And let that really get nice and brown on the other side. Sometimes what I'll do, even though it's fire, it's not a super high heat, it's a little camp stove. But if you have a nice gas stove at home and you're cooked at a really high temperature on that one side, sometimes what I'll do to prevent cooking the meat dry is once I flip it over, I'll turn it to a medium. And honestly, I didn't realize I did that until one day I was cooking over a friend's house and she was observing me as I made burgers for the family. And she's like, oh, you turn it down when you flip it over. Yeah, because what you have when you flip it over on the other side is you have reserve heat, right? And so you're going to still see that beautiful texture on the other side, but not burn or dry out the meat once you flip it over. So again, especially when you're making burgers, high heat on the first side, and then when you flip it over, give it a little medium heat so you get that reserve heat, get that beautiful flavor and texture, but not burn it, okay? One little tip to Chef Evelyn. So if you're reaching, that means it's getting a nice sear. I'm going to let it go a little bit more. And with fish, you can see as it goes up the side, the doneness, right? So I'll let that go a little bit further because it's not quite done, like you can see right there. So let that go a little bit longer. And so that's really it. And then while we're working on that, while that's nice and getting nice and seared, I'll watch it. I have my items for my dressing, which is a lovely yogurt, some parsley, lemon, and olive oil. So, working slightly away from my meat, I have some olive oil going to pour into the bowl with the yogurt. And then I have this lemon. I will zest that. I'm going to let this finish on the stove just slightly. All right. So I have my yogurt sauce here. So that is cooking, finishing off with reserve heat. And I have a lemon, which again, you need a microflave, right? You want to incorporate flavor in a very simple, economical, but profound way, right? You zest the lemon. That's how you're going to always get good flavor. You can do this in a dressing. Sometimes I finish pasta with lemon zest. So good. And so what you do is the technique. You have your microplane. The zest is the thinnest, most outer layer there, not the bitter white pith part, just the thinnest, most citrusy layer, because when you start zesting, you can smell it. So the technique I use to just get this thinnest outer layer is scrape, scrape, look, and then rotate to an unscraped part. So scrape, scrape, look, rotate, scrape, scrape, look, rotate, scrape, scrape, look, rotate. So before you juice the lemon, you want to zest it, basically. Scrape, scrape, look, rotate, scrape, look, rotate, scrape, look, rotate, scrape, look, rotate. And some people sometimes they ask, should I do the whole lemon? Yes, it's flavorful. See that? The microplane, I got about 10 or 12 of these. Scrape, scrape, look, rotate. Let's see here. And then you can put a generous amount of parsley, but I'm gonna do this garlic first. Fresh garlic in yogurt. It is delicious. We do this amazing, we used to do a brunch class at the market. Now I mostly do baking classes on a Saturday morning, but my first few classes at the market was this really good brunch class. And, oh, I lost that one. We made Turkish eggs. And I don't know if anyone's ever had Turkish eggs before. Turkish eggs is basically poached eggs over this beautiful yogurt mixture. And it has fresh garlic in it. And it's just incredible. And so, I don't know, this kind of reminds me of that dish. So again, you might have noticed, no matter how big or small an item is, I'm always holding my knife like so, and I'm always using the claw because that's safe. And one little tip people always love at the market is if you're mincing garlic, you take a little bit of water and you put it on the garlic pile so it doesn't stick to the knife. And that just helps you really mince. So once I begin to mince, you see I position my hands quite differently. Still being safe, but this is going to help me really, in a fast, efficient way, mince that garlic really well. We're talking about health and nutrition. You want to use fresh garlic. It's excellent for the heart. And the phytonutrients in the garlic, it's good to basically mince and chop the garlic and leave it in its own pile, because of all of the nutrients in the garlic. They actually begin to kind of attack each other when the garlic is minced and chopped. Just makes it more bioavailable for you and heart healthy. So a little tip. And of course you can put something like this in a dressing, anything you want. Fresh garlic is like tops, right? You always want to do fresh garlic. There's never a time you don't want to do fresh garlic. It's just always appropriate. So I'm going to put 2 nice cloves of garlic in there. Take about 30 more seconds to mince, because why not? All right. And then get that in there. And then parsley. You can really do as much as parsley as you want. I like to take the bunch of parsley and just gently brush the leaves off like that. What that does, it does a few things. It minimizes the amount of stem in there. I mean, you can have stem in there if you want, but if you also have a lot of parsley that you don't want to use, you want to reserve for later, you just basically brush off the top and then put the rest in a nice little canister like that in the refrigerator. So imagine this, if I had this whole pile, I would just kind of take some off the top. So it basically helps you portion your parsley, your herbs. So again, the same technique with parsley. Parsley is great. It can make kind of a green goddess dressing if you want. I'm going to take this kind of far and mince. You know, with parsley, you can practice your knife skills. You can basically turn this into dust if you wanted to. I'm not going to make it dust today. That takes a while. But I am going to mince it kind of far. Just to kind of maybe turn my dressing a little green today. Parsley is excellent for digestion. It's flavor neutral, but adds a lot of freshness to a meal. It's excellent for garnish. So parsley is always a must in the house. Not only does it make things kind of pretty, but it's healthy. It's good for digestion. So I took it kind of far. Hold on, just to get a little bit longer. You can also mince lemon rind in the parsley as well. That's always a great topper for anything. You like to take a little bit of parsley, some lemon rind, some garlic. There's all these ways to incorporate flavor and health in your meal. So I'm going to go a little bit more. All right, maybe 5 more seconds. Get it in there. Okay. And so take that into my beautiful dressing here. Did I add salt and pepper to this? Add a little bit more. So this is how it looks before we give it a nice little mix. And you can do a variety of things with this. You can do just anything, really. Oh, lemon juice. That's what I need. Okay, so I zested my lemon. Oh, another gadget you can have in the house, of course, lemon, but you have a juicer. Now, there are many juices on the market, but these work really well. You cut the lemon in half and you actually place it down. This is a big lemon. You place it cut side down into the juicer. These are some big lemons. Let me see if this one works well. So that prevents the seed. Healthy, flavorful. And it makes it more of a dressing texture, right? That's a good way to incorporate flavor. So like if you want to minimize salt, add lemon juice. So if you can't have a lot of salt in your diet, you could, because what salt does is it enhances flavor. Salt has a purpose. Yes, people put too much salt and you have to prevent salt, if you have high blood pressure, and that is very important. So if you want any salt alternates, if you want to incorporate something in your meal that's also going to enhance the flavor like salt typically does, then you can do lemon juice as an alternative to salt, garlic powder as an alternative to salt, common items you have in the house. So that's our lovely sauce. Isn't that pretty? I made it. It's lemony and it's a bit green, which is nice. All right. So, and we also have some brown rice and quinoa. So before I start to assemble, does anybody have any thoughts or questions?
I have just a basic, like you're using a wooden cutting board. How are you cleaning that afterwards?
I have not used any meat on here. I basically wash and take it through a sanitizer if necessary. But yeah, just wash and wipe
Wash
down.
it down?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing too complicated. I get asked that question a lot. You have the option of plastic cutting boards, wood, bamboo, and I think there's trending online some sort of like stainless steel cutting board. I might try that out. When you're choosing a cutting board, yes, people think about how the ingredients might get seeped into the cutting board, but you also got to think about the impact on your lovely knife because you want to have the knife you want to increase the shelf life of the knife. So honestly, at the end of the day, when you talk about bamboo versus plastic and more practical cutting boards, I typically like a wooden cutting board. Sometimes I'll especially if I'm in the commercial kitchen, I sanitize all my wooden cutting boards and then I let them dry completely. But yeah, a good quality cutting board, I would say wood. And then wipe down, rinse really well, let it air dry. The biggest concern for me about cutting boards is them drying properly and not getting mildew because I have a lot of cutting boards. I have a lot of students in my classes. So yeah, proper storage is the most important thing for me. I never found in all my years of experience that they hold contamination. I think that's a primary motivation for that question sometimes. If you're concerned, maybe you get multiple cutting boards, one for vegetables, one for your meat. I find we typically use in the kitchen, I don't have it with me, we typically use one of those large white plastic boards for meat. So use the wooden cutting board because most chefs use wooden cutting boards. We don't all use bamboo. We don't always typically use like plastic unless it's meat. So plastic for meat and then wooden for everything else. So just making sure my salmon is all done here. Oh yeah, she's pretty. It's real pretty. Turn that off. And let's begin to assemble. So again, look at this beautiful platter we have here. This is something that could be presented to the entire family. Kids love vegetables. I've done a lot of vegetables in public schools with youth, whether it's super young, middle school, or teenagers. They like vegetables that are more crunchy, more al dente. Let's put this all on here. And really, you can be an artist with this. So these are my done items. Let's see here. Hold on. I want to get my... And I can do a rough chop on my lettuce. This has been washed. Just do a nice little rough chop. I personally like to keep it a little bit separate on the bowl where I take some lettuce and I put it off to the side. And then you can take, let's see, I'm going to use another one here. Let's get a fresh spatula. Look at our beautiful tray of roasted vegetables. You have a couple of options. You can either mix all these items together. I'm going to mix my peppers and my onions. But then begin to just artfully place it on there. So I'm going to add some beautiful broccoli. Ooh, some zucchini. Those are a little bit bigger, so I'll put those on first. So pretty. Look how colorful and roasted those zucchini are. I like to cut them in a diagonal like you saw earlier. Just kind of make it pretty. And then I'm going to put my peppers and onions. And then, of course, my chickpeas for that fiber. Helping everybody stay satiated. Do a variety of beans and chickpeas. I'm just going to put all the broccoli in there because it looks really good. A little more zucchini. And then the beautiful salmon. And then my lovely almost green goddess dressing. So just kind of drizzle that on top as you please. I'm gonna let you see that get drizzled on top. Let's see here. See if I can do this. Look at this beautiful, drizzly, salmony salad. And this is beautiful. And then you could also do something like pumpkin seeds. Pumpkin seeds are incredibly healthy. They're good for hormone balance, flavor, and texture. So maybe you don't add croutons or extra bread or gluten to this. Maybe you add some seeds, some pumpkin seeds. I love pumpkin seeds. And it's just very helpful and crunchy and delicious. And then you can just really store it. I'm gonna show you before we go into any other engagement and questions. I like to, my sister makes fun of me because I have all these containers in my house. I have all these boxes. You think it looks good? And so I'm gonna show you a little box that I bought at the Container Store a few years ago that if I prep vegetables ahead, if I prep anything ahead, it's really great. And also if I like go to someone's house for the holiday, it's awesome to take leftovers. So I'll be right back. So I have about 3 or 4 of these boxes. They're high quality. They're Sistema. And you see they're just really simple, 2-compartment. I've had these for years. These are excellent for pre-prepped vegetables. Like you said, if you go into a party or a holiday party, I just take like 2 or 3 of these boxes and I can take just enough leftovers home. So that's it. So this is healthy. It's not only healthy for your body, but it's healthy for your mind because you're talking about flavor profile, sequencing, monitoring, kind of a healthy distraction. Even if your body is tired, if you set these things up for yourself and you just kind of get off what maybe your typical habit and prep this despite the fatigue, it's going to be a healthy distraction for your evening, and then you're going to feel more satiated and improve your mood, sense of healthiness, all that good stuff. Any questions? I'm glad you like it. Looks good. This is gonna be my lunch, just so you know. I'm gonna have this for lunch today.
Okay, I was actually just looking you up online. So you teach classes at the Easter Market?
Yes.
Okay. Do you go on on your website or something to see about those?
Yeah, you can go on
Or
my website and I'll link you to my Eventbrite essentially, and then you can just sign up for a class. Like we have
okay,
a Mother's Day macaroon class tomorrow.
nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. That looks delicious.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see what some good takeaways are. So this is a good weeknight workflow, right? This is something that could be easily transferred into, obviously, first of all, we want to get a lot of vegetables in our body. Sometimes I work really hard physically. I drive around the city. I'm starving. I can get a burger, but I don't want that. I always desire something fresh. This is a good way to do it. This is like a power bowl, but then you could also transition this into a stir fry or a taco night, a real like innovative, interesting taco night. So that's kind of the easy workflow, like prep, cook, assemble. Simple, easy ingredients. You can do about 2-3 days worth of this. So maybe the whole family hasn't embraced this yet, but you can embrace it for yourself. You've prepped some of these vegetables ahead. You don't waste the vegetables you got at the market, and then you put them in one of these boxes and you got a great power bowl after work. What else do we do? So this helps reduce cooking stress, right? Because you don't have to have a super fancy meal to be healthy. This is some common household ingredients, stuff in a can, easy, affordable vegetables. And then we talk about knife skills. We talked about great knife skills, proper kitchen gadgets that you want to have that help you stay healthy and incorporate flavor. So the good kitchen gadgets. And then we talked about how cooking supports cognitive health. So this is kind of a distraction to the stress or the fatigue.
I love it, Chef. Evelyn, you know what I was thinking about when you asked the question about what kind of benefits, the cognitive benefits do people get from cooking, and I thought about it. And when you cook successfully, it can definitely build your confidence.
Mhm.
So it can be a confidence builder. So it would probably be good to keep doing it till you get better, especially when people eat it and their response to your cooking, it makes people happy when they eat delicious food. That feedback is good for our mental wellness.
It is.
I like to think deep about stuff.
That's
So,
true. I agree.
and I'm sitting here looking at this dish, girl. That
Mhm.
looks so good. Has technology gotten to the point where I could just reach in and get that? I'm
I
just
wish. Here you go.
tasting.
Try. Try.
Oh, that looks so delicious. It
Yeah.
looks so healthy. I love vegetables and I love salmon. It's just full of health and it just looks so tasty.
It's
Any other questions out there? How much of each ingredient for the
Steve,
dressing I see is a
Republican city
question.
gym leader, and Brock, the Pewter City gym leader.
Somebody is unmuted that shouldn't be. Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Could you say it one more time, please?
In the chat, what is the amount of the ingredients in the dressing? I believe it is what it says. Is
I give a recipe. So and what I'm gonna do for this presentation, I've already prepared a summary of the notes of everything I discussed today and the actual recipe. So it's typically a teaspoon of the garlic powder and a teaspoon of the paprika, and a little bit of pinch of salt and pepper. Kind of eyeball it, and again, for your own health reasons, you may minimize that.
yeah.
Then we talked about other ways to enhance flavor, like with the lemon zest.
Yes, yes, yes.
You
I
can
love that. And also to contribute, I want to talk about these cognitive benefits. We know that the herbs and spices have phytonutrients that can
Mhm,
contribute to our cognitive health.
mhm.
So everything in this, I see Kathy in the chat says she finds it calming to
Yeah,
chop vegetables. We got to watch her back with her. She likes to chop things, but
yeah.
that calms her. That makes me think of those movies where, it's really an assassin cutting the vegetables.
They like the assassin likes to do all that cooking before, but yeah,
Exactly.
right. It is very calming. It makes you, like you said, it gives a sense of confidence to your
Yes.
cheese. I have a lot of clients who come into classes. They want to cook. They want to do a lot of chopping, and so we leave that to them. Um, Someone asked about the products that I use, or the kitchen products. Like I said earlier, this is a scan pan. You can see it's been used a lot. It's
A
called a
scan.
scan pan, and I'm surprised you don't really see it in stores. Yeah, that's a very high quality pan. That was about a $250 pan right there. But it's worth the investment because, like I said, you can cook it nonstick at very high temperatures and not release those typical toxins of a nonstick pan. This knife is a Miyabi knife. It's in the Zwilling family, which is actually a German knife company. I like this Miyabi a lot. Um, I do sharpen it, but it's such high quality. It works so well. I don't have to sharpen it that often. I don't have it with me. What you typically want in your kitchen is a wand. Like anybody, you have a knife set and you have that steel wand. Anybody have that in their kitchen? They barely use. Yeah, you should use that because that's going to keep the quality of your knife. I'm sorry I don't have mine with me. It's at the kitchen. Otherwise, maybe next presentation I'll show you how to maintain the quality. One
Yeah.
little tip, don't put your knife in the dishwasher.
Don't put the knives in the dishwasher.
Oh, don't put the knife. People do it all the time. Stop putting the knives in the dishwasher.
Okay, well, you know what? If I get on my IB knife, it better wash itself as much as
Right.
that.
And these are
In
nice
my,
to use
it
unless you
better
have a
be.
block a block in your drawer. These are great to just put a simple magnetic strip on your wall, and you just store your knives up there.
Wow, wow, wow. Now tell me, Chef Evelyn, do you have a YouTube channel where you do this often, where you do cooking demos like this and teach people? How do we do this? How do we keep connected with you?
I will be doing more of that in the coming months. That's where we're transitioning into our media profile, definitely. So follow us on all the socials. When I send the the recipe, which you are free. Rhonda's free to forward it to the whole group. You'll see all my social media, but essentially Google or look up Evelyn's Midtown Kitchen. You'll find my website. You might find some of my media coverage, and E&K Culinary on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube.
Gotcha. So graduations are coming, baby showers. Do you do catering?
We do catering, yeah. That's not our primary thing, but we do some catering. We primarily do demos, virtual cooking classes, things like that. But yeah.
Oh, good to know. Good to know. Any other questions out there for Evelyn? Excellent, excellent. And you have my stomach growling just looking down at the dish, but
This
it
is
looks
mine.
so good.
Look at
Yeah.
that salmon right there. Whew, she's
Oh,
mine.
no, the roasted vegetables. I love roasted
Yeah,
broccoli.
the broccoli.
Delicious. Thank you so much again. Thank you, thank you, thank you
For
for
having me.
coming to share with the Mesa family. Yes, Scan Pan is what it's called. My Myobi knife set.
Miami, yeah, Miami is
Myobi.
mine. This is a very high quality. This knife is probably like $200 or $300. I've had it for a long time.
That should guarantee good food. It should just when you put the knife in the ingredients,
You're right. You slice it with that knife.
it's just
You
it
have
better taste good. That's all I got to say.
yeah. The quality ingredients they do help. A good microplane, all this stuff just helps it taste good and look good. And I want to add, it's excellent for family bonding. I know in some instances, parents are tired and busy and stressed, and you don't want the kids in the kitchen because you don't want them to get hurt. But I guarantee you, if you incorporate that, not only is it good for family bonding, but it ensures long lasting life skills and memory for that child. And I'm sure
Absolutely.
many of us know that, but I can speak from personal experience and just seeing, observing different families throughout time and my experiences in the community. It's excellent for family bonding, and
I
that,
agree.
that kid's gonna need that life skill. Trust me. Like I can't. We can talk another hour about what that means. The ability to
I
cook.
agree. I agree. You reminded me of around the holidays when I had my granddaughter over. She's 4, and my other grandniece. We done cookies. We baked cookies. So I had them mixing and putting the ingredients in. So definitely cognitive benefits, just the joy of it. Until this day, whenever she comes over, she wants to bake cookies. Now, that's a burden sometimes
Mm-hmm.
every time you come over, but
Right.
it's worth the time. And I think one of our earlier presenters just talked about how cooking can bring people together. And I think about that so often. If I was just more confident cooking, I would have more social gatherings.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that isolation and staying away, lack of social connection can contribute to mental illness or mental imbalance. So
Mm-hmm.
cooking definitely is a true component, a real component. Thank you so much, Chef Evelyn, and hopefully we'll have you back again
I would
in
love to
some
come
way.
back. I've loved this, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.